In April 2020, the Scottish Government provided £25,000 over a 3-month period for local interfaith groups and faith communities to assist them in keeping in touch with one another during the pandemic and to support local initiatives to help others in their communities.
Would someone tell me, what does community serving others look like?
Muslims, Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists, Christians, Baha'is.
You've provided people with solace, comfort and spiritual guidance when they've needed it most.
Help with their mental health and well-being.
Over 100,000 meals to families and people in need.
We're looking at 60 meals a day, 6 days a week.
People won't have to suffer and they'll have full bellies.
Scotland's faith communities and interfaith groups make a massive contribution to our society. Across the country, faith communities and interfaith groups have delivered food and support to vulnerable people. You've reached out to those who are isolated, and you've provided people with solace, comfort and spiritual guidance when they've needed it most. In doing so, you've helped to mitigate some of the worst impacts of this crisis. And you've demonstrated values of solidarity, compassion and love, which are so important to our society overall.
The Sikh Food Bank, since inception in March 2020, has now delivered over 100,000 meals to families and people in need all across Scotland. What's really special for the Sikh Food Bank's team of volunteers is that we're here for anyone that requires it. At our core, we are a true multi-faith partnership across all communities. So that means we deliver food parcels and give health advice and guidance and welfare support to anybody who needs it from any faith community or even no faith community in any background. What we're most proud of as well is our team of volunteers. We want to make sure that our whole team reflects the people that we serve. So our volunteers are not just from the Sikh community, but from a wide range of faith communities that represent Scotland. So last summer, not only did we distribute food parcels through the network of Sikh Gurdwaras in Scotland, but we also fostered, for the first time ever, a special partnership and relationship with the Queen's Park Baptist Church. So for a period of 3 months, the Sikh Food Bank was housed within a church facility, delivering food parcels through that community partnership. Our food parcels reflect our people that we help as well. So for Easter, we delivered Easter eggs to families. For the Sikh festival of Vaisakhi, we delivered special handmade Punjabi sweets to celebrate this festival. For Eid, we delivered halal food parcels to those that were celebrating the festival of Eid. Thereafter, it was Diwali and we delivered special candles with our food parcels. And to top off the year, we celebrated Christmas by providing handmade traditional Christmas meals to folks in Glasgow. And we also delivered Christmas presents to over 150 children in Scotland. What a true example of interfaith impact in Scotland.
When we went into lockdown, we needed to look at ways that we could continue to serve the people that we work with. And one of those ways was to actually send out stamped addressed postcards with a couple of questions on them and a wee pigeon of hope, a wee origami pigeon made by our volunteers. And they were sent to every one of our members. And when the postcards started to come back in, we were able to gauge how people were coping. The other things that we did was set up accounts in cultural shops so that people that were needing food could go and pick their own food, but also if they needed a fuel or a phone top up, they were able to do that as well. We continued to make sure that we were engaging with people and engaging with them to help with their mental health and well-being, families and individuals, particularly families that we know really were struggling. And we would do that through Zoom baking and, online relaxation and mindful classes. So things like that was just to keep people engaged, to keep that people's spirits up and alive, but also for us to know, who are the people that we need to be working with.
In March last year, I was travelling around Scotland with an international trio of klezmer musicians on a concert tour when everything suddenly got cancelled. we put the last of the concerts online. And then, instead of having 50 or 60 people in a room, we ended up with 650 people on Zoom on the 21st of March. And we had people in the chat saying how wonderful it was to be together, how disabled people were able to turn up, people from the Highlands and Islands or from the United States were able to join us. So we've built on that for the last 10 months. Communal organisations have put on cookery classes, exercise classes, lectures, concerts, talks. We've put our volunteer training programme into the virtual classroom and trained some new volunteers who put together a series of mini videos, 5-minute Judaism, for online classrooms or homeschooling. As across all the other faiths, we've had to put on funerals, stone settings and other family events online. Sometimes it's heartbreaking, but sometimes people have said that it's been fantastic to have so many members of the family from all over the world being able to join in funerals, memorial prayers and stone settings. So there have been benefits coming out of this terrible situation.
I live on a street in Bishopbriggs, and whilst we're not wealthy people, but I don't have to worry about putting food on the table at night. And I was thinking of all these people in Glasgow in this day and age, that are concerned about putting food on the table for the kids, and for the families. So I thought, right, I'm going to put a flyer through each door. Printed out 100 copies for the street. So here we have Steph and Tom and Harry. Steph is a neighbour, and me, and we have our rusty old wheelbarrow. Optimistically, we're going to fill it, and we're going to wander down to the bottom of the street and start. There's Tom and Harry. Look, that was the last little bit in the wheelbarrow. There's Tom.
I feel so overwhelmed by the generosity of the neighbours in Beaufort Gardens.
I think that a lot of the neighbours were very generous and donated a lot of food, and people won't have to suffer and they'll have full bellies.
The second lockdown's been quite difficult for a lot of people, preparing food and meals over the last few months. The local independent shops, they've been very generous in giving extra food, extra vegetables for us to use. And we're looking at 60 meals a day, 6 days a week. We've been doing this for the Queen's Park Hotel, for the homeless, destitute people, anybody who comes into the shop here at Al-Khair. It's been a pleasure, actually, thanks to Interfaith Scotland and their funding that we've been managed to, we've carried on working the way we have.
Due to the pandemic, all its services were cancelled, which affected many people. The centre's first action was to distribute 500 facial masks, and monks spoke with many people regularly to help transition into this new shocking reality. To support members, I began daily Facebook online services, which includes talks, chantings, and guided meditation since April 2020. We also run events and classes on Zoom. Apart from one-off services, we are running 3 monthly mindfulness sessions since the first lockdown.
I would like to share this community story between Scottish Aggregate Society and Eglishes Stirling, a small family business in Stirling that produces free-range eggs from the farm. The essence of the story is the generosity which was shown by Jim and his daughter Claire in donating eggs to our society so that we could go and deliver these donations to food banks and services whom we're dealing with, the vulnerable parts of Scottish society.
In October 2020, the Scottish Government provided an additional £25,000 over a 3-month period for faith communities to assist them in opening their places of worship safely and staying open in a safe manner.
We provided groceries to nearly 30 stranded Indian international students for a period of 2 months. Through the entire lockdown period, we continued to cater to the spiritual healthcare needs of our community. Hindu Temple of Scotland is a very big premise, and the volunteers prepared the temple, and a very timely funding from Interfaith Scotland, we were able to install non-touch hand sanitizing equipment and pay for the services of a janitor, and these two incredibly helped us to reopen the temple, even though it was for a short period of time.
To make the changes needed to ensure our Hindu temple was safe and COVID compliance, to expand the space for social distancing measures for our devotees. We have installed protective screens at the reception, barrier chains and poles, floor markings of a one-way system, and placed a tall vertical board prompting COVID safety posters and advice to devotees. The devotees felt reassured for all the safety measures enforced.
We have invested money in Zoom subscriptions, which are used by our groups meeting throughout the week, and also have bought computer software that allows us to put together our digital services. We can edit together videos and recordings from our members to make our weekly worship services together for our new YouTube channel, including putting together individual audio recordings to make our virtual choir. We have spent money on stationery and postage to send out a weekly pew leaflet. This contains both the same readings and prayers as the Sunday service, so we can share something of the same worship, but also contains news, quotes and anecdotes. Although a simple thing, it has proved much appreciated and vital in keeping us connected. Your grant has helped us stay connected throughout this pandemic, helped us to keep worshipping together, helped us to stay safe in our buildings, helped us to continue to offer that place of prayer, helped us to offer that friendship throughout life's adversity, helped us to practice our faith and keep our faith community together, and ultimately kept open ways to God, which we have needed more than ever in these past 12 months.
Our ladies made 100 masks like that, in which we provided to Sick Children Hospital here in Edinburgh for parents, carers and volunteers. And beyond that, and provided the help with the shoppings, collecting prescription from the chemist for our elderly, isolated people in our communities. The phone call helped them with their mental health and well-being.
Interfaith projects at the grassroots level of society really made a difference in Scotland.
We'll face more challenges in 2021, and the Sikh Food Bank team is ready to support people in need as we get into the new year.
The volunteers of Hindu Temple of Scotland look forward to continued working with Interfaith Scotland, other faith communities and society at large.
The pandemic has shown how closely we are all connected and how much we all depend on each other. And it has demonstrated once again the importance of our interfaith groups. Your work of bringing people together will be more important than ever as our country seeks to recover from this crisis. So I want to thank you for all that you've done and all that you continue to do. It is hugely appreciated, and I look forward to working with all of you as we build a better, fairer, more united country in the months and years to come.